welcome to another edition of Mark and Dave's Lifting the Lid. I'm Mark.
I'm Dave.
And today we have, I would say, an elite audio favourite, which is the Audiozen Alchemy integrated amplifier. This amplifier we had reviewed twice last year. Both reviews were great. In fact, Dave owns one of these, don't you, Dave?
Yep.
And in fact, just before we really get into the guts of this, is one quick thing I wanted to cover. There was a Mr. Robinson, don't you remember, sent in an email.
That's right. Yeah.
Suggesting that actually for lifting the lid, we actually do physically take a lid off something.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know. Would like to hear your comments on that. If you'd like us to actually properly have a lid, like Mr. Robinson suggested, please drop an email to myself, David or Grant, who you can't see.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a plus, really. And we can consider it for a future video. Anyway, all joking apart, that this is quite an incredible amplifier. We first heard this amp about 18 months ago. Audiozen are an Italian company. We like their ethos in terms of their approach to a no compromise as far as internal componentry is concerned. And I'm going to let Dave get into the sort of specification of this in a minute or two, but let's just say that if you look at the component listing, compare it to what else you can buy at this kind of price, and you look at the specifications, it's crazy impressive.
It's really good.
I mean, so you, without getting into the spec, I mean, obviously from your own perspective as an actual owner of one of these amplifiers,
Sure.
Tell me what's your take on the amp?
Yeah. Well, we heard that, as Mark says, about 18 months ago, and listening to it just purely from a listening perspective, what we found is that it outperforms, to a level of, it's £3,300, and I've compared it with integrateds up to about £7,000 or £8,000, and I prefer it. It sounds better.
I think one of the things that I like about it is they've got everything separated. And again, if you think that this is not really something you normally see in an amplifier at this price point, you'll find that an integrated amp at this price point is going to be everything in the one chassis. Audiozen have really thought this through properly. They've put the power supply, and again, I'm not getting into the guts of the tech spec, but we've got custom built toroidal transformers. The pre-stage and the output stage are kept separate from the power supply. So, on a technical basis, it's about as good as you can get.
Yeah, absolutely. The ideology behind Audiozen is let your ears be the guide, and that is really true. When you hear one of these amps, there's nothing else really that sounds like it. In terms of what I found the first time I put it into my system at home, and it was actually a customer had borrowed the amplifier from us as a stopgap, and he said, "Oh, I really liked it," and I thought, I found it boxed up on my way out the door on a Saturday evening. I thought, I'll take it home and just have a listen, because it's the best place to hear something in your own system. And the thing that really grabbed me was its sense of scale. Some amplifiers on certain tracks, for example, the Eagles on Hell Freezes Over, on the Hotel California track, the drum beats at times can seem really overblown, but the amp really put it into perspective. Yeah. The stage was correct in scale, and the more I listened, the more I realised it was quite a special amp.
I tell you what's also interesting, because we took this to the Hi-Fi Wigwam Bake-Off at Scaford Hall, where we were the main show sponsors, but it was an opportunity for us to showcase products that we felt were great, and we actually took this amplifier with us. And I tell you what's amazing, I mean, it was a massive room. We were using audiophysic codecs, we also had the Bonneke W8s there, and when we brought the Audiozen as the amplifier for our presentation, I think what really struck me was its ability to produce separation, but it's a natural aspect. And the other thing I like about it a lot, and I, someone who likes to play his music loud, is that when you start turning the volume up, it just gets louder. The sound stage doesn't start to fall apart. It maintains the composure that you'd expect from a true high-end device. And this is something which you just will never really see or hear unless you're prepared to go to sort of levels of outlay, as you've said, £5,000, £10,000. it's really quite remarkable. So I think what we'll maybe do is just take a few minutes and we'll go through the internal specification, and we'll get a nice close up so you can all see what's in there, and then we can sort of have a sort of a summing up to sort of tell us, or tell us, we already know, tell you why it is we as a sum up why that this amplifier is so special.
This is the PSU box for the Audiozen Alchemy, and as you can see here, you've got Audiozen's mantra, which is "Let your ears be the guide," and if you do, I can assure you, you'll absolutely love it. So 3 custom toroidal transformers that are made for Audiozen. You can see in here also, just down here, the quality components. You've got the Jansen caps here. There's also a really overspec'd relay system. So what this unit does is effectively separate down what you would normally get in one box, and this is all your power regulation, and then it feeds out into 2 cables to give you your DC for the amplifier section. So you can sit this somewhere else in your rack or hide it away in a cupboard, whichever works for you, but it's a really well engineered piece of kit. The quality of these connections, for example, they are super, really good. The cable is brilliant. I say I can't fault it. Even the PCB that's there, the quality of that PCB is brilliant. Moving on now to the main amplifier. Again, it's the same alloy casework that's all bolted together. You've got really nice speaker terminals, gold plated RCAs. There's 4 inputs, they're all line inputs there. On the front here, you've got your main volume. Now it's actually motorised, so you get a remote control with it as well. It's a Doro remote. Your input selector here for the 4, and then your standby, and when you click the standby on, it operates the relay that was over in the power section and brings the power on. This is a preamp board here. Again, Mundorf caps, Jansen caps, really good quality stuff in the audio path. A couple of chips here, that's for the remote control. The valves that are used in the amp, at the moment, it's 2 PC 189 valves that are in there. They're RFT, which is Rundfunk und Filmende Technik, bit of a mouthful, but they're NOS valves. It's an older company from East Germany, or the former East Germany. You can exchange these if you want to E88Cs or ECC88s. They're all interchangeable, but they're NOS valves, which is always better, especially in Nino, who designs the amp's opinion as well. Power board here, you can see massive heatsink. The transistors that are used, they're bipolar, and they are made in the 2019 model. They're going to be Toshiba ones that are in there, very high quality. Again, the quality of this PCB is excellent, as is the components that they've used on it. Power output into the amp, it's 90 watts into 8 ohms, 180 into 4 ohms, and I've actually seen that on scope. You can see right up to about 170 odd watts. The waveform is perfect before it starts breaking up, so I've seen for myself the power output confirmed. But it is a fantastically well made amp, and it sounds absolutely brilliant. And also the crate it comes in, there's very few amps at this price point that will give you something like that. So yeah, listen to it and hopefully you'll love it.
So as you can see, this is a really impressively specified amplifier. I guess, in fact, interestingly, just while I remember, there's a feedback on our reviews.co.uk. It's a review site where you can read about our customer service and so on. There's a client who's actually written on there who bought this amplifier with a pair of Bunike W5s, and honestly, if you read it, you'll find the review. He's being an audiophile for 20 odd years, and this setup that he has now, he said, is the best that he has heard in that time frame. Yeah,
I mean, that particular client traded in a very well known Italian valve amplifier that gets rave reviews, and this destroys it.
Yeah.
It absolutely blows it away. So maybe not the most well known of amplifiers, but...
Well, there's 2 good reviews. There's a Hi-Fi World review, there is a Hi-Fi Pig review. They're both excellent. They bring out the 2 key points, numerous key points that we've already covered. And I'm going to tell you about an Elite Audio first on any amplifier. Currently, if you're prepared to hear for yourself just how good this amplifier is, we will actually give you a 60-day no risk money back guarantee, and that tells you the level of confidence that we have here in terms of its sound performance. It is staggeringly good. I think, as you saw in the when we did the close-up of the internal specification, internally it's really a thing of beauty, and the layout of the circuit board, you can tell a lot of thought has gone into this. Also, interestingly, our in-house electronics engineer, who, I mean, how good is this guy at electronics?
Yeah, he's a bit of a genius. He had a look at the internals of it, asked him to make a few comments, just as a passing note on it, and the quality, in his opinion, it's totally over-engineered. It's of fantastic quality, and basically puts its money where its mouth is. And
that is probably one of the best bits of feedback you can ever get, because this guy, he really knows his electronics. Any pre-owned equipment, if we have a warranty work to get done, he's the person that does it. But he's got so much experience with audio equipment, and if he says something is good, trust us, it's exceptionally good, and he really rates this amplifier. So there you have it, the Audiozen Alchemy. Again, if you have any suggestions for videos that you'd like us to film, even if it's not a lifting the lid style video, but something else you'd like to know about, we're very open to your suggestions and ideas, like Mr. Robinson's for actually physically lifting a lid off something.
Is that the chap with the tannoys and the monoblocks?
Yeah, that's one.
I think, I know the chap.
And
the Rabbit Aries.
Yeah, that's the guy. He knows them. We know our customers well. And again, any ideas or suggestions that you have, we'd love to hear from you. Even if it's non-video related, or you just want some advice in your system, our advice comes free of charge. Even if you're buying something elsewhere and you simply want us to give you some input into it or our opinion, we're always open to helping no matter what. Anyway, we have other lifting the lids planned. This is always going to be a regular feature, so look out for the next one. Thank you for watching today. I'm Mark.
Dave.
And we'll speak to you soon. And guess what? We didn't mention your carpet once. Not once. Didn't get mentioned. Not once. So, thank you. No carpet mentioned. How was your carpet, anyway? Dave's sensitive about his carpet. That's not a euphemism, by the way.